Okay, so right now we're going to read a little bit from the book again, part 2 of Waiting on a Cowboy, the McGrath series by Jennifer Ryan, page 202. You heard Detective Valdez. He called after his interview with Clint that filled him in. They don't have anything to arrest Clint. That doesn't mean he didn't do it. I believe he did, which is why I'm taking the detective's advice. She picked up the sack lunch and she packed before making breakfast for her, Tate, and Declan. I won't go anywhere alone. I'll eat at work. I'll vary my schedule. I've already spoken to my boss. It's all arranged. Quit. Stay here. You don't need to work. I'll take care of you. She understood his desire to keep her close and protect her. She appreciated it. It reinforced how much he cared about her. But, Tate, honey, I'm not quitting my job and hiding here for the rest of my life. If I do, he wins. I'm pretty sure I win if you're here with me all the time. He tried to tease, but he also was serious. Go to work with Almost Homemade. She shook her head. You can't just hand out jobs at Trinity and Dria's shop. They won't mind. Your family. She placed her hand on her melting heart. Thank you for that. It truly means a lot that you think that. It's true, Declan added. You've been a part of this family forever, Liz. Tears filled her eyes. She always knew her friendship with Tate made her close to him and his siblings and parents, but she never imagined Declan and others would think of her as family. Tate set down his coffee mug, cupped her face. This is where you belong. She hooked her hands on his wrists. But I still need a life that's mine. She hoped he understood. You won't have a life if Clint gets his hands on you. Declan pointed out with the horrible truth. Tate gave her a see my point face. She got it. She felt the same way. They did. But she couldn't quite quit her life and hide away forever. She couldn't let Clint take everything away from her and get away with it. She'd taken Thursday, Friday, Saturday off and stayed at the ranch all that time, not going back to her condo and giving Clint a chance to do whatever he planned to do next. How long was she supposed to put her life on hold because Clint couldn't take no for an answer? She wasn't stupid. She had a plan, even if it wasn't foolproof. I have a new phone. Tate bought her one when he replaced his with a new phone number. Clint couldn't call her or text her now. She cut him off just like the detective said she should do. Hopefully Clint would get bored and sever his obsession with her. She hated to think of him turning his sights on someone other unsuspecting woman. Aubrey must have felt the same way when she delivered the warning to her that fateful day last week. Liz hoped that she had the guts to help someone else if needed. The phone means nothing if he takes you and kills you like he did Aubrey. Frustrated and angry, she pushed away from Tate. I'm going to work. I'll be careful, I promise, but I won't sit here on my butt doing nothing anymore. If I see Clint or even think he's following me, I'll call the police. I'll text you throughout the day to let you know I'm okay. Dang it, Liz. I want you more than okay. I want you safe here with me. I know. She sucked in her breath and let it out to calm her down. But you can't babysit me the rest of our lives. Just until the cops arrest him. For what? They have no evidence. He did anything. No prints on your truck that he stole your phone. Not in Aubrey's car. No sign that she struggled or tried to fight him off if it was her car. Nothing at the lake puts him there. He's going to get away with killing her. I won't let him get away with ruining my life. Tate stared at her for what seemed like a full minute. Fine. Thank you. I'll drive you to work and pick you up. Tate, Declan needs you here. You're already short-handed. Spending 3 hours every day driving me back and forth to work is not a good use of your time. I'm going to spend the entire day worried about you, Tate bit out with his frustration etched in the lines around his frown. Try it Tate's way. For a little while, Declan stood from the table to take his plate to the sink. Clint hasn't been able to get you here on the ranch. Let Tate take you to and from work and see what happens. If he tries to contact you at the office, we'll know he hasn't given up on you. If not, then we can reevaluate. Tate stared at her. You should be relatively safe at work with your co-workers and people coming and going all day, but on the road, that long drive where houses and ranches are few and far between, lots of open space and few cars. He left off what could happen out there. But she didn't need the details to come to a compromise. Okay, for now. Maybe I can adjust my schedule and ride in with Adria when she goes into work at Almost Homemade. You think Tate is overprotective? Declan shook his head. No way. Drake let his pregnant wife get involved in anything that puts her at risk for a long-term risk along with you. She threw her hands up in the air and let them fall. Great. When he hears about this, I'm sure he'll revoke my invitation to stay here. Never. Tate touched her shoulder. But you will be stuck with me driving you to work. I don't mind being stuck with you anywhere. She tried to put some humor in her voice, but it didn't come through the ease of tension in Tate's determined eyes. Declan kissed her on the side of the head. Stay smart and be smart. He left her with Tate in the kitchen. Tate brushed his thumb across her cheek. We are all worried about you, Liz. I'm not taking this lightly. I just can't sit here and let him turn my life upside down. He pulled her in for a hug. I know, sweetheart. I won't live scared. He can't do this to me. What he did to Aubrey, isolating her from everyone she cared about, and as sweet as it is that you want to keep me here safe on this ranch, it's the kind of you to do the same thing. That's not my intention. The definitive tone made that clear. She rubbed her hand up and down his chest, and she settled it over her heart, or his heart. I know you want to keep me safe, but I won't give up the life that I built or let him ruin what we found together. I won't let him separate me from my family and friends or you, because then he wins, and I refuse to cower and let him win. Tate put his hand over hers. He knows we're on to him. He knows you're with me. Let's just hope it's enough to keep him away. Tate's own words didn't hold the assurance she needed, because nothing short of Clint behind bars for life would make her feel better and safe. Okay, this one's a short little paragraph, thank God. Page 242. I'm going to marry you, you know. That cocky grin made her laugh, but the words took her back to kindergarten at the lunch on the playground when she announced her intention to marry him. I told you you would. With that, she left him with the biggest smile she'd ever seen on his face and headed to do chores and bask in the brightening of love, her whole life and future. Okay. Page 270, 271, 272, and then we're calling it a night. And I get to say good night to y'all. 270. And with your permission, I'd like to ask your daughter to marry me. They didn't say anything. They just stared at him. Do I have your permission? Leslie jolted. Yes, of course. She loved you her whole life, Ken said matter-of-factly. I know this has to be what she wants more than anything. I've heard her say it in her voice, and I've seen it in her face every time she talks about you. I know you'll take care of her. Yes, sir, always. Enough with the sir, Tate. I appreciate that you want to do this right, but relax. We're all happy you chose each other. You're a good match. You know how to argue without hurting each other. You two always found a way to compromise when you needed to. Leslie added, most kids have friends that come and go their whole lives as they grow up, but not you two. There was that some kind of special that glued the two of you together. Leslie glanced at Ken. I think it was that sophomore year when, oddly enough, they were both infatuated and seeing someone else when we said to each other, those two are destined to be together. Ken leaned on the forearm of his knees. You two talked to each other more than you did to the people you were seeing. Tate shrugged. She was always more fun to talk to and be with than anyone else. You found something to do with those other girls. Ken winked and waved his hand to stop Tate from trying to defend himself from the embarrassing truth. All I'm saying is you two made it through all that and took your time to explore your options and came to the conclusions that you're better together than with anyone else. Ken glanced at his wife, then spoke for both of them. We worried that you two would settle down too fast. We wanted Liz to have some life experience outside her relationship with you. You wanted that too. Believe me, it wasn't a conscious thing. I denied my attraction and feelings for her forever. He didn't have a problem telling the truth. He'd come to terms with it when he faced the possibility of losing Liz. Even now, the thought of losing her stopped his heart. Because she mattered that much to you, Leslie, insight erased his fear that he had to go through another round of your feelings real questions. She means everything to me. They sat back, pleased with the response and at ease with giving him their blessing. Leslie shot forward with her hand out. Can I see the ring? He handed it over. She opened the lid and her eyes glassed over again. Oh, Tate, she'll love it. It's perfect. He glanced at the diamond solitaire with the pretty swirls and the filigree setting. I hope so. Ken leaned over and checked out the sparkler. You did good, son. When will you ask her? Still working on that. And on the how, when, but very soon, so please don't give her any hints or anything that I want this to be a total surprise. He checked his watch, and if I don't hurry, she'll wonder why I'm picking her up late from work. Leslie stood up the same time he did and handed the ring back. Are you going to give us some time to plan a proper wedding, or are you going to be like your brother Drake and hurry her to the I-do's? He shrugged, knowing he just couldn't wait much longer. It seems to be in the McGrath blood. Leslie rolled her eyes. I guess I better get to the bookstore and buy every bridal magazine I can get my hands on so we can start planning. Good idea. Just give me a little time to ask her. Tate shook Ken's hand. Thank you. Welcome to the family, Tate, although it seems silly to say that since you've been a part of it for so long. Thanks for always making me feel like I belonged here. Leslie touched his arm, her eyes warm with emotion. Don't keep my girl waiting. Okay, got an interesting tweet, but that's okay. Soon Liz would officially be his girl for the rest of his life. He had the ring and her parents' permission. Now all he had to do was ask her and get his quote unquote yes. And I'm going to leave you on a happy note tonight. We start with more drama tomorrow. But for tonight, just know that they're going to hopefully get married, right? Hope. We want some hope, faith, and love, just like what I wish for you when you watch my videos. At the end of every video, I always wish you all hope, faith, and love. Lots of joy in your heart. Lots of love. Just don't keep that love to yourself. Be giving. Make sure that you find a way to take that goodness in you and give that goodness forward so that that goodness can be shared with others, and then hopefully it starts a chain of love and it can be spread throughout the world. And most importantly, make sure that there's prosperity in your heart and in your bank account. Make sure that you remember it's better to give than it is to receive. I love each and every one of you. God bless until we meet again, hopefully tomorrow night.